go ahead, Paul.
So next chapter,
Yeah.
you talk about the innocence, and then what now drives you to the next phase of the book? Why did you feel the need to share these things in this book,
Which
in
is-
this progression?
Which is basically like your tales of experience,
Yeah.
which now covers your career, life,
Yeah.
and then politics and you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and all of that.
I want us to discuss politics differently.
Yeah, sure.
So just leave politics out of it, but
Yeah.
why did you go
From that beginning.
Yeah.
So it's almost like if we didn't read the Bible from Genesis, it would be hard to understand the chronology of the story. You know?
Yeah.
So it was important to anybody who was going to who is going to read the book
Yeah,
and
understand.
to understand where eventually the character
Yeah.
ended us.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to start from that
Yeah.
beginning to understand
Yeah.
what molded the character.
Yeah.
As you move further, when you see some things that happened, some decisions are made, you know, if you don't understand that background, you actually think this guy is either high on something or crazy because nobody does that kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But then knowing that I have this military background,
Yeah.
you know, and the training, it made me take certain decisions, you know.
Yeah.
And then I did certain things based on even my upbringing, you know, based on what I was taught, you know, and how I was raised. So this is like the nucleus of it, you know, where, I mean, I kind of start to put my pieces together.
Let's start from politics, right? How did you get into politics, and why did you get into politics? First, why, and then how did you start that journey to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do next?
So starting with the why before the how.
Yeah.
I actually got into politics, or rather, why I got into politics in the first place is because of the fact that, as a person, I'm actually passionate about like people development.
Yeah.
You know, and I think for someone like me who has been a beneficiary of like good development, you know, I was lucky to kind of like be raised in cities that had good infrastructure. You know, I was born and raised in Lagos, you know.
Yeah.
Then I moved to most of the states my father governed, you know, as a military governor. So and he was very developmentally driven, you know.
Yeah.
So I kind of saw that and I liked it, and I understood early enough that the only way you can do that to develop people, to put infrastructure that makes life easy to live is through politics.
Yeah.
So it kind of like got my interest in it, and even from the university, you know, I wasn't like contesting for any elections and so on, but I was always involved in the student politics thing, you know,
Yeah.
to better the welfare of students in school.
Yeah.
So basically I kind of supported people and all that, but I never contested for any office myself, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a bit too shy.
I think you also mentioned something about how you thought of students meeting gubernatorial candidates to have discussions,
Yeah.
you know, something like that.
Yeah.
And you initiated that
Yeah, sure.
and
Yeah.
created something movement.
Yeah. So at one point when my dad started thinking of running for office, you know, and I was still in school then. His first attempt was in 1999, you know, and he now had his second attempt in 2003. And so it never worked out in those two attempts.
Yeah.
But then in that 2003 attempt, what happened was I just went into campus, you know, mobilized some guys that, I mean, because I'm involved in the campus, I know the strong guys that students listen to, you know, so I kind of got them together, you know.
Yeah.
Even some guys that didn't finish school, some former SUG presidents, you know, got them together and
Yeah.
everything, and organized a meeting, you know. Of course, after conferring my dad, I said, look, I want to bring these people so that, I mean, they can meet with you and hear from you firsthand and everything. I said, okay, fine, go ahead and organize it. So I went, organized the whole meeting, you know. He came for the meeting with some of his own political friends, or what we call
Colleagues,
structures, you know. And they came attended, and the students listened with rapt attention, you know, asked him questions. He was open enough to answer them, you know, and he kept like really giving them answers, you know. He didn't shy away from any questions.
Yeah.
You know, and at the end of the day, funny enough, we went back to campus and everybody was like, this is your dad. He makes some sense, you know. He makes some sense, yeah, you know. At the end of the day, naturally, I mean, we kept in touch, and then eventually got involved with some other people, and the other people helped to crystallize it, and it became then what we eventually called the Young Youth Organization. You know, Yeah, so that's how that organization started. Yeah.
Well, something really strikes me from reading the book,
Yeah.
and it's about mentorship. It seems like you've enjoyed that mentor-mentee relationship.
Oh yeah, I have.
Can you just like tell us a bit more, or give us some insight to that kind of relationship, and if you think we should all look for mentors?
No, definitely. See, definitely we should all try to get mentors. You know, like, and nobody's too old for mentorship. Nobody's too experienced for it. You know, I mean, the only time you shouldn't look for a mentor is when you're in the grave. I mean, really. But other than that, because look at it, even today in the business world.
To interject,
Yes,
about the mentorship, you're saying we should look for mentors. So you also referring to the fact that different parts of your life you should look for mentors, like maybe life coach, maybe in terms of career, different, not just have one mentor.
Yeah, sure.
Just to state that clearly.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure, as much as you can find, you know, get them, you know, in different aspects of your life, because people are good at different things. I'll give you an example. Look at the relationship between Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. It's business relationship, you know. So one is an inventor, one is an investor. When you invent and people like your product and start to buy it and the cash rolls in, what do you do with it? So he has somebody older who is very experienced with investing and teaches him how to invest the money he makes from that. You know, it's a very clear mentor-mentee kind of relationship. And I benefited from that kind of thing too, because right from the beginning, you know, my father was actually like hands-on, you know, on us as his kids and everything. He was a very disciplined person, still is a very disciplined person, doesn't tolerate certain things and all that, you know. And so he did his best to kind of find out, you know, who I was at some point, you know. As I developed older, he now realized, okay, look, this guy, you know, the thing we talked about, understanding children as individuals. I mean, I was maybe probably like 16 when he started to understand, okay, this guy, this is the kind of person he is, you know. And he seemed to understand me the most of my siblings, because we both have that military background, you know, so he seemed to understand me the most. And so eventually he started taking me to meetings with him. I'll follow him, you know, to political meetings, and I'll just sit in the corner, you know, and sometimes he'll ask me to take notes, you know. Sometimes he'll have a conversation with me along the way, on the way back, you know, and all that, you know. Just at one point I felt that was too much for my age, you know. He was giving me too much information for my age, you know. So, and at that point I didn't know really what to do with it. But you see, that's the interesting thing about experiences. Every experience always counts, because you might not see what it's all about at that material time, but as you evolve, you will now exactly, you know, you start to see that these things come into play in your life and you start to use it. I've also like met people, you know, in the academia that have mentored me, you know. I've met people in the business world that have mentored me, you know. And so because if you read the book, you find out that I never started as a business person. I was someone who, though very interested in business, but I was a science student, through and through, you know. My background is in pure and applied chemistry, you know, So. Why do you guys feel bad about science people? Like, really?
Ions and
yeah, I know, right? So basically, that was how we I mean, like, the whole thing started. And so I met people who mentored me in business, you know, and I showed that interest early in life, and my parents encouraged me. You know, my mom, that's my chief finance officer, you know, she always loans money to me that I never pay. You know, but really she encouraged me a lot, you know. She just believed in me.
Can you attribute your success now to luck? Because you were born in the family you were born into, or you had to do something extra, you know, away from family, away from the protection of mommy and daddy.
So my success, I can't say it's luck. I actually can't say it's luck. No, it's far from luck, because there, like, we'll be talking about being mentored. We'll be talking about like the experiences, you know, growing up and all that, you know. If I didn't go through that process, I don't think I would have done well, you know, because I personally don't believe in luck, you know. I believe everything, you have to be deliberate about everything. Everything that in life, you have to really set out in your heart, you want to achieve this. Look for ways to achieve it. You know, put yourself in situations, in positions. Before I finally left government, I started to enroll myself in the London Business School because I knew I wanted to go back after politics to focus on business, to build not just a business, but grow generational wealth. You know, so I knew that if I wanted that, I needed to go to the premier institution that I could learn, meet people who have seen it, done it. You know, with big multinationals and learn from them. So that experience really changed a lot of things for me, and so I went and got training. So to say it's luck, no, it's not luck. I worked towards it. Yeah, exactly.
I agree with that.
Okay, we've been talking about different snippets of the book, but I mean, let us in on the whole writing experience.
Okay.
What has it been like for you?
Were there sleepless nights?
No one should write anything. okay. So no, I would encourage everybody to write actually, because I think it's liberating. It's frustrating. I mean, you have those. I always had the terminology writer's block.
Yeah.
I didn't understand it till I started. You know, sometimes you don't even know how to go about it, the chapter. You know, you don't even know how to start it. You don't have to put the pieces together to flow, you know, to have the flow in the book. So it's like, you're just like, why did I even get involved in this thing? You know, like, I should have stopped the minute I thought of the idea, you know, that kind of thing. And so, for me, it's trust me, it's the creative process is, let me say, under celebrated, because it's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, it's people make the creative process sound like the way we simplify what we read in the Bible when you read about creation, it said God said let there be light and there was light. You know, even that, as it sounds simple in that sentence, it's a deep process. You know, so but we try to simplify like the way we read it. You know, and the same thing with the creative process, the writing process. You know, the idea is different from how can you communicate it. You know, it's different when I communicate with you verbally, and it's different when I communicate with you by writing. You know, because I have to pick my grammar carefully. Now, especially when you're communicating with people that may not know you, it's like, okay, if people that know me, I can use certain slangs, they're familiar with me, they understand what it means and all that. But then, if people that you intend to reach out to, and part of the idea of writing the book in the first place is to reach out to help younger people who are having struggles. Because as you read the book along, you find out that there are areas you see my struggles, you see, and I mean, somebody who might be going through the same kind of struggles, you know, and who understand that, oh, somebody went through it. I mean, I'm encouraged to see somebody who went through it and succeeded and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, it's a beautiful process. What I would advise anybody who is trying to write is that when you write, don't get to that point that you just feel, oh no, I'm giving up, and just let it go. No, when you are done, you will celebrate all those what they call speed bumps. You know, you had along the way.
Okay, so just to build on that again, I would love to know. So the times you had like writer's block, what were the things you did? Like, do you have to go swimming to like
drinking?
You have a ritual. You have to do something, or do you have to be in a particular place to write?
For me, honestly, I have no ritual.
I think I'll leave now.
I definitely have no ritual. You know, like sometimes I just leave the laptop and walk away. You know, and I just go and do something else. You know, but one thing I found was that most of my best ideas came anytime I traveled to spend time with my family. You know, I don't know, something about it. Maybe I'm in the right frame of mind, or maybe it's being a child again and playing with the kids that kind of makes me you know,
nostalgic. No wonder it is family power politics.
That's why
I'm really about the grammar part, the composition. How do you get through with that? Do you go to read up somewhere, or things that helped you in the whole process?
Oh yes, you have to have a dictionary right next to you.
You have what, sorry?
A dictionary right next to you. You won't have to get a thesaurus also, because you need to check other words that are similar in meaning.
You know,
so that you can actually find the right words to use and all that kind of stuff. Something that, because for me, I believe that communicating with people is not about using big grammars and complicated English. It's as simple as
possible.
As possible. Yes. A 5-year-old should understand you. A 50-year-old should understand you, and that's grammar to me.
True.
And then I think for any book to be relevant, it should be contemporary in a way, because you need to tell people about events, that they can relate with.
Yeah.
And I saw a section about racism, about tribalism, crisis. I mean, because recently Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
a lot of pent up. Yes.
Yeah. So if you're watching this in
20.
2050, right? There was a time in this era when this was a thing. So just for people that are watching, if you're watching this in 2050, there was a time when this thing was a thing, right? There was something called NSAS, there was something called Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
So, and you kind of captured it, but I imagine that whoever's watching this now, 20, 30 years later, they have things that they're struggling with themselves.
Yeah, sure.
So I agree with you. A book should be able to capture those significant moments. But you did that in this book.
Yeah.
Shed more light on that, please.
Racism and tribalism.
Yeah. So you see, I think the whole concept of racism, right, is when you see yourself or a group sees themselves superior to another group. It's not even about the color of the skin, because when you talk of racism, people think about whites on blacks. But there are blacks that are racist on whites. So it's not about the color of the skin. It's about how your worldview. I mean, how you view humanity. That's why it's so appalling, because when you see a fellow creation as something inferior to you, it's the height of your inhumanity, as far as I'm concerned. And so what I try to put there is like, there's this concept of racism. There's the concept of tribalism. Tribalism in itself is not bad. Yeah, and I'll tell you why. You see, if we believe in something, an idea, you can call people who love software a tribe of software people.
Yeah.
Who just believe in the power of software.
Yeah.
It's a tribe.
Yeah.
Ethnicity is when we say Birom, this one is Ibibio, this one is Efik, then we're not going to ethnicity, which we didn't choose our ethnicities. I don't know of anybody who actually designed his ethnicity and chose it.
Yeah.
We all are born into these things, and people start to now develop tribe, right?
Yeah.
Within the ethnicity, to make it look like now this tribe, we're superior. This tribe of ethnic group is superior to that tribe of ethnic group.
Yeah.
And then it's our own form of racism in Black Africa,
True.
on each other, because it still boils down to the concept of racism,
Yeah.
where you see yourself superior to other humans.
Yeah.
And I don't think any human being has the right to see himself superior, because even a professor, which is the highest academic attainment you can have, is only knowledgeable in a few fields or in one field, but he doesn't know all.
Yeah.
If he knew all, then he's a god.
Yeah.
So if you've not attained God's status, then you have no right to discriminate against anyone.
Wow, excellent.
So from your book now, what lessons do you think the readers can actually get? What do you think like the key takeaway would be from your book?
Wow, I think there are lots of things people can take from it, because when you look at it, people are going through different experiences in life. People's experiences are all different, and there might be something that would relate or reach out to someone, and it might not reach out to another person, But I think there's something for everybody in that book, because generally, as our human experiences are not too far from each other generally, especially when you are localized to maybe the same geographic environment, it's just like if you are born in West Africa, you would never see snow, So we all know rainy season, we all know dry season, the Harmattan season, and then so we're familiar with the monsoon rains and all that, but then we don't know snow. In fact, the concept of winter we see in the movies, really. So basically. That's it. Basically, we kind of our geography kind of shapes our experiences, to a very large extent. so basically, I think that's.
Yeah, but I think I kind of know where today was going with that, because I was going to ask you. I'm not a big reader, so if you were going to tell me one chapter of the book that you think I must read, what chapter would it be, and what would it be about?
I think my favorite is the chapter of spirituality.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
amazing.
That's a very strong chapter.
Amazing.
I think I was, even when I was writing it, I was moved. You know, as in I felt something in me. You know, because
let's go to church in this.
I don't really. I mean, I became very humbled. You know, because you see, there's something about all of us humans. I don't care what religion you're in. We're all spiritual beings. You know, there's this deep thing within us that we know there's a truth. It's just like that thing they say, you can't lie to yourself. When you sit in that your lonely space and you start to look at issues, you know when you're lying to yourself. You know, you even know it yourself. So the spirituality chapter talks about, in fact, I started it by saying, look, I don't consider myself a religious person. I don't, but I'm a spiritual person. And when I say I'm a spiritual person, I believe that there's a superior person who created me, a superior creator, who is God the Father, and I know that I need to find my salvation through understanding His Son Jesus Christ, you know, and accepting Him as my Savior, and then learning, not because I'm perfect, but put that effort to learn, to understand every day, you know, what my walk with Him, you know, should be. And at the end of the day, my perfection comes from Him. I don't want to now go like I'm trying to preach a religion, but then I'm just trying to say that at the end of the day, spiritual experiences are very personal to us. You know, I can tell you many things that have happened that a religious person will say, no, it's not possible. But for me, as a spiritual person, I know it's possible because I've experienced it. You know, I experienced a situation whereby normally a religious person will say, oh, you can't come from the pub and hear like the voice of God, you know. But it happened to me, you know, and it saved me from a situation.
Please share.
Yeah, please.
Okay, I'll give you guys this part of the book.
Because you're always at the pub.
No, that's not because of me. So the people watching.
So this happened to me like around 2014. So my wife was pregnant at the same time. She was studying her master's degree in public health, and I was also at the London Business School in that year, and so we had gone for a trip. You know, I won't mention the place. We went to on the trip somewhere, and then came back, and so she called me and said she's pregnant. I'm like, okay, wow, okay, that's good. You know, I mean, we're not expecting it, but then we're happy about it. We celebrated, and we're happy, and we're expecting. You know, we didn't even bother to know if it was male or female or whatever, but then we're just interested. And then eventually, within that period, I will save the details so that when you read the book, it will be more. I don't want to kill the joy of it, you know, of the reading. So, but at the end of it, I had an experience where I heard a voice tell me, "Lean not on your own understanding. Whatever the doctors told you, they don't understand," and that led to the rest of the story. And when you read the book, you're going to find out why.
I think I can let this much out of the book.
Okay, go ahead.
And it's on spirituality, answered prayers, and loss. Birth, death, and what happens to you in between. Man continues to grapple with these mysteries of a beginning and an end, and probably a life after. I often reflect on what happens in between and ask, how does man become? What shapes man's worldview? And can one truly carve a path for him or himself? Or does one have to walk a path already predestined by an omniscient being? That's how you started that section.
Sure.
Ooh, I'm getting chilly.
Yeah, because like that beginning of the spiritual chapter starts. You know, the idea was to take the reader to that place of deep reflection. If you listen to that, you know, it's not about religion. It's about the questions we ask ourselves every day. if you talk to people in different religions, some of them would open up to you. Even I, as at one point, I was asking the question, why am I a Christian? Was it because I was born a Christian? Or my parents were Christians? At some point it was that. Until I went through this process and found out what I wanted to be and why I wanted to be that. You know, and that's why I say spirituality is key.
Not religion.
Not religion. Yeah.